Hello, everybody. Let's quickly talk about sine graphs from yesterday and how we graph them when we actually change the period. And so from yesterday, we may remember what sine looks like. And if we remember our parent function for sine, it started in the middle, went up, back to the middle, down, and then back to the middle. And we can move that around based on some transformations. So let's identify those transformations and then let's graph this. So the first transformation we talked about is where is the midline? Where is the middle of this graph going to be? And that's going to be annotated by that -4. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put a -4 in there. There's our midline. There's the middle of our graph. That's where our graph's going to start. I know for sine right away that it's going to have a point right on that midline to start. Then I'm going to look at its amplitude. The amplitude here, A, that tells us our distance from our midline to our max. So that's basically our mid to max. And so let's just count up 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put a line in there and I'm actually going to annotate that that's going to be our max. And remember that this is the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, our graph has to go down to a minimum, right? Our amplitude works in both directions. From our midline, we go up 4 or we go down 4. So that's not only our mid to our max, it's also our middle to our min. And that's kind of how I can use that to see the vertical stretch in our graph. All right, so now from there, I know that I'm starting at the midline. I know I'm going up, then back to the middle, and then down, and then back to the middle again. But the one thing that's different is now we're talking about this letter. And this letter is going to be annotated by the letter B. And I know that seems a little backwards, but this is actually going to be talking about our period of our graph. The period of our graph, remember, is one full cycle. Now, the unfortunate thing is it's not so easy as just saying, oh, it does one full circle or cycle in pi over 8. We actually have to do a little converting in a formula to do that. So our period formula is actually 2 pi divided by that letter B, or that number next to x. And so we're actually just going to plug that in and do 2 pi divided by, well, let's see, pi over 8. Great. But now I got a fraction and a fraction. Well, instead of dividing fractions, we can use keep, change, flip. We can keep the 2 pi, or write it as 2 pi over 1, and flip that to be 8 over pi. And now look at the beauty here. The pi's canceled. 2 times 8 is 16. There's our period. So this is going to be one full cycle in a matter of 16. So if you think about our graph here, 1, 2, 3, we can't count to 16, can we? So let's skip count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay, so at 16, it is going to end its full cycle. So I'm actually going to put a dot there on the midline because I remember that these graphs go from mid to max to min to mid. Oh, I'm missing one. Did anybody catch that? Oh, doctor. Max, mid, max, we got to go back to our mid, then our min, then we can go back to our mid again. So it goes in middle, top, middle, bottom, middle. Okay. And so we kind of can see how that's going to go, but we really don't know kind of where it's going to go in between. And so all we want to do is we want to take this 16 and we want to cut it up. We know that we're starting at 0. And we know that we're ending at 16. And so to get those other 4 points, I'm just going to cut that 16 up into 4 equal sections because I need the 1, 2, 3, 4 total points there to add up to 16, and that's 4. So that tells me that each of these 5 key points is actually skip counting by 4 as we go up to get to 16. And so let's just look at what that would be. Okay, I'm going to go to 4. I already have that annotated as my max. Then I'm going to go to 8. I have that annotated as my min. 6, 8. So I'm going to go back to the middle. Sorry, middle. And then the 12 is going to be my min. And then I get to 16 in the max. So if we connect these, here's our beautiful sine graph. We can see it's been shifted because of our midline. We can see it's been stretched because of the amplitude. And we can see kind of the compression side to side based on the period. And so today's real function is identifying the pi over 8 using your period function right here, your formula, use a little keep change flip to figure out what those X values are going to be. Real quick redo problem on that. We'll do one more. Is going to be the following. You're going to, again, just really start with the basics here. Start with your midline, -3. There it is. There's our mid. Then from there, I'm going to go find my amplitude. My amplitude this time, much bigger. That's 6. So remember, that's our distance from our mid up and our mid down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks like our max value is going to be at 3. And I got to go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's our minimum value. How did I get that? Again, from our amplitude, right? That's that distance of 6 from the middle to the top to the middle to the bottom. Great. From here, now it just again turns into finding your period. So period equals 2 pi divided by b. That b is pi over 5. So we're going to turn this into 2 pi divided by pi over 5. And again, fractions mean keep change flip. So 2 pi over 1 times 5 over pi. Cancel your pi's. This time we get a nice even number of 10. Let's go annotate that on our graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So right now, so if I know anything about sine graphs, I go mid, I'm not going to screw it up this time, to max, back to our middle, back to our minimum, then back to our mid. So I know we're starting and ending on our mid. From 0 to 10, I have to complete a full cycle. Why? Because that's our period. I'm going to go annotate those points here. I know I'm starting at 0 and 10. I even know the midline, -3 in each case. And now to get these other points, I'm going to again take that 10 and just divide it by 4, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 ways I got to count up there, and I get 2.5. And so let's see, that's going to be 2.5 is going to be right here. Then I got 3, 4, 5 is going to be right here. 6, 7.5 right here. And so that's kind of going to tell me my other 5 key points. So my max is going to be right here. Notice how it's on the max line, but in line with that X value of 2.5. Then at 5, we got to go back to our middle. This is why I annotated them, because I'm almost drawing these in the wrong spot. And at 7.5, I want to go back to our min. And then it's going to go back to our middle again. So let's connect these. And you'll see one kind of big sine graph where it's been stretched both horizontally and vertically, and then shifted down by that midline. So big key points, big key takeaways today. Start with your midline, boom, stretch it, identify those kind of key points there. And then from there, it's using this formula with keep change flip to find that 10 value. That's where that 0 and that 10 came from. And then really just dividing it by 4 to set your scale for these other 3 numbers in here. Bang. Good luck.